I'm down.
The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist.
She's the painter in Boston? Or the museum is in Boston?
Museum is in Boston.
I have heard about this. Hey, by the way, hey, man, daddy.
Hey, I'm sitting there. I've got the gasoline. You keep on asking me why I have the gasoline.
That's cool.
Oh, my
That's cool.
God.
It's all right.
I'm gonna
2
light it
blocks
up.
down.
That's cool.
I'm gonna light it up.
Maybe a good distraction.
Cass, please chill out. Nick Sprite, tell me about this heist.
All right. So, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum is in
Wait, hold on, sorry. Vision, please chill out.
Thank you.
Quicksilver, tell me about this heist.
Okay, so the museum is in Boston, and this particular robbery is considered the single largest, and by largest I mean the most valuable worth of the items stolen in particular, the largest theft of private property in history.
Ooh.
Damn.
And it was from an art museum. It was a private collection. It still is a private collection. It's still there. A private collection from Isabella Stewart Gardner, who was a philanthropist and friends of many notable artists from the 19th century. And she left her private collection to this establishment to be on permanent display. And so some of these works are, some would say priceless, but let's say that, let me give you a figure here. So 13 paintings or 13 works of art were stolen in this robbery, and it is valued at $500 million.
Whoa.
Yeah.
$500 million.
Yeah, $500 million off of 13 pieces of art.
Damn.
Nah.
People like looking at stuff, don't they?
And it is, it's also unsolved to this day.
Oh.
The story itself is pretty interesting. This happened on March 18th in the wee hours, let's say just around midnight. So this is in Boston.
That's not very wee of an hour.
Yeah.
When are the wee hours, like, way later? I mean,
You're starting to get wee. You're getting pretty wee.
It's getting wee-ish.
Wouldn't you think one?
It's like,
One is a wee hour. Right?
Yeah.
That's wee.
For most.
So midnight to one?
For
That's not
most.
that far
It's
off.
the eve of we.
Eve of wee.
Well done.
That's awesome.
So, March 18th, 1990. You got to think, this is the night of St. Patrick's Day. So it is just finished in Boston.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
Wait, that's very early for St. Patrick's
No,
Day.
in Boston.
In Boston.
Agreed.
Oh,
Yeah,
this is
that
very bold.
That's far from wee.
It's very bold.
Dropkick Murphys
All
are
right.
still going. Like, they got 20 more songs. Like,
But
they're
that's
not,
maybe the best time to do it because they're completely involved
This
in
is
it.
Exactly.
true.
And they
have been
Lots of
drinking all
chaos.
day.
Everyone's
And they have been drinking
drunk.
all day.
This is true.
All right.
And
So,
they're going to keep
They have
going.
an appropriate decoy situation.
Exactly. So,
Son of
this
a bitch.
museum is located in the southeast of Boston, and around this time, there was a large party in the neighborhood going on. During this time, a red Dodge Daytona pulls up next to the museum. In it, they said there were 2 police officers. They got out of the car, and they went over to the museum around 1:20 in the morning, approximately, and they rang the buzzer.
At the museum?
At the museum. So there's a side exit that the security guards would use and that they would use to receive deliveries. And in between, there was a space. There was another door leading directly into the museum and then an exterior door, what they had called the man trap in between.
Okay.
That's exactly what it was for.
The man trap.
And so these 2 officers approach the building and they ring the buzzer. And at the security desk, there are 2 security guards stationed on the museum that evening. The one stationed in the front currently, as the other patrolled, was 23-year-old Richard Abbott. I hope I'm saying that correctly.
We don't say anything correctly on the show. We just we accept that now.
Yeah.
It's our
It's a
thing.
So he is a 23-year-old kid. He has long hair. He plays in a rock band called Ukiah at the time.
Ukiah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He sees cops through the closed-circuit television, and he goes, "Oh, I know that it's against the rules for me to open the door, but I'm not sure about for the police."
Oh, no.
So he lets them in. They come in over to the desk where he is seated, and they ask his name, and then they tell him that they believe that they have an outstanding warrant for his arrest, and they ask him to come around the side of the desk away from the only button for the silent alarm.
Oh,
Brilliant.
well done.
Yeah, this is great.
They ask him for his ID. He pulls out his wallet, and then they proceed to turn him around and face the wall and handcuff him. He only realizes that something is amiss because they don't frisk him at the time. They pat him down and they don't realize. He goes, "Oh, this is not right. I've been duped."
Hoodwinked.
Rather. So, these 2 police officers, then the second security guard comes back, and they pretty much use the same story on him after hiding away Richard. And they put him in cuffs, and again, he realizes too late that these are not, in fact, police officers.
Man.
This is brilliant.
The 2 men are then bound and handcuffed to pipes in the basement of the museum, also with duct tape. And there is a photo of Richard, actually, covered in duct tape, bound to this piping, and it's.
Who took the photo?
I don't know. I can
And
show
what-
you.
Evidence, probably.
At that point, he's probably
Okay,
like,
I'm gonna get you out of it. Hold on. Okay, stop moving. You're out.
This looks
it won't focus.
mad funny,
Oh, this
dude.
is so great. Okay, now give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up like you don't mind. Give me a thumbs up like, okay, wait, I'm gonna do it from top so you don't see your chin. Okay, let's do that.
Well, he's actually gotten a lot of flack over the years about what he did, and people thought he might have been involved
Ah.
and had let them in on purpose in order to perpetrate this theft. But he has never come of any financial gain. He's been on the FBI's radar since day one, and it just seems like, honestly, he was a kid who made a mistake. And I feel like everybody needs to let this guy live his life.
Right.
there's no way he would agree to that happening to him without that beautiful hair.
Wow.
Unless he was in a
yeah.
Tool video. Or,
And he was ready
like
to
that.
just shave it off, yeah, maybe.
I mean, he could have just been doing like covers of covers, like Weird Al Yankovic, like a cover of Weird Al Yankovic, if there is such a thing.
Oh god, yeah.
He does look pretty weird.
That's like the easiest meta you can do is to do a cover.
He does
of
have
Weird Al.
beautiful
Weird
hair.
Al, yeah.
Okay.
So now the silent alarm still has not been tripped. The two thieves have their pick of the litter, as it were. A local alarm stationed inside of the building starts to go off, but they smash it and destroy it. And so no one knows that these two men are inside the building.
Just traipsing around having a good old time.
This is the part that puzzles most people who have studied the case, is that they do not take necessarily the most valuable pieces of art. They walk past a couple of Botticellis, they walk past The Rape of Europa, or The Rape of Titan.
Who was the guy who had the very vivid red? It's like Caravaggio red.
Caravaggio? But he's a little bit. Some of his paintings, I'm not sure if they were in the museum, but there are some priceless works that are in that museum that they didn't touch. They walked right past.
Or maybe it's like Rodin. Or, no, he was a sculptor.
So for the next 81 minutes, these two men proceed to steal $500 million worth of
Wow.
art.
In 20 minutes?
Sweet.
81 minutes. They made 2 trips back out to the car to drop off.
Damn.
That is leisurely shit right there.
Yeah.
Do we get everything? Let's go. Don't double check.
Do a dummy check.
So I'm actually looking at an article here, and it says that they passed by 2 Raphaels, a Botticelli, and Titan's The Rape of Europa, which is one of the most
Titan,
valuable
that's what it
pieces
was.
in the entire museum. They just
Wow.
left alone. And there are different theories as to who might have perpetrated this over the years. They think it had to do with a lot of mid-Atlantic crime, organized crime families. So you're thinking New York, New Jersey, that area. But some people think that Whitey Bulger, who was the largest criminal in Boston at the time and also an FBI informant, was involved. And there's other theories that the Irish Republican Army was around the theft and hence the fencing of the sale to fund their movement.
But why the particular pieces of art and not the more expensive ones?
So theories are now that these basically 2 stooges got hired that knew nothing about art
That's what I was thinking.
to steal because
Yeah.
they actually
Sounds
they-
like it was commissioned, right?
the way that they
Yeah, sounds like
just randomly grab certain things. They smash frames when they could have taken more care to remove them. They literally cut 2 of the paintings from the frame.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's it. No, these guys are amateurs.
That's terrible.
Well, I was thinking maybe it was judged on ones that were easier to recreate, because if a painting is stolen and it's easier to recreate, then you can sell fakes because they expect it to be on the black market while you hold on to the original. So maybe it was selected to be more of a mass grab than getting the most expensive
You
one.
are so meta right now.
I like it, though.
Okay, so this one's going to piss you off if you really hate it that they cut it from. They cut a Rembrandt.
Ah!
They cut a Rembrandt.
Oh,
They cut the
man.
Storm on the Sea of Galilee out of its frame, and that is pretty much his only known seascape.
Wow.
The most valuable piece that they took, which they did take out of the frame, was Vermeer's The Concert. And so there are only 34 known Vermeer paintings to exist in the entire world.
So they got one of them.
And this thing is $200 million for a single piece of art.
Jeez. So that was the...
That was the prize, but it's still not known if they knew what they had when they took it. Because they also took random things, like several small Degas drawings, Edgar Degas. They took some Flink.
Just some
Flink.
fuck off.
Flink.
Fuck off, Flink.
Just grab a few flinks.
Just walk by. I'm like, oh shit, are those flanks? Grab those, dude. It'll be funny.
Get a flink, man.
Put them in your back pocket, though. I don't have room.
They
crumple 'em
also
up
they
a
also
little
took a Manet painting, and so to this day, the stolen pieces of art, their frames in the museum remain empty. And there is
That's like a testament to like the robbery.
These
Yes.
badasses.
to hold that hope that they someday will be regained or returned.
Wow.
And there is currently also a $10 million reward for the discovery of these artworks.
That's amazing.
And since the 5-year statute of limitation has passed on the burglary. The criminals, if they came forward, would not even be charged.
Interesting.
Wow, really?
But they'd have to have
Yes.
the pieces of art.
Yes, but the FBI has also conceded that they believe the two main suspects that they had in the case, and they are very confident, they say, that they know it was these two men. They say they passed away by the year 2015, and yet they will not disclose their identities.
That's amazing.
Because they had such a good time. They're like, let's not smear their name now. They lived high on the hog until they died. Getting $500 million? Come on.
Was there like a particular theme to the type of paintings that got taken, or was it just kind of seemed to be seemingly random?
Seemingly random. They took some several high-end ones, some drawings. They took a finale, I believe it's pronounced, which is from the Napoleonic era, which is the topper to, say, a war helmet or possibly the pinnacle of a building.
Okay, so
they took a golden goo, which was
golden goo.
Yeah, it was a GU, so a like Chinese dynasty beaker that they took.
Okay, so it wasn't just paintings; it was other
It was a
stuff.
little handful of collection, but it was only 13 objects in total.
Interesting.
And with that amount of time, it seems like that it was specific.
I feel like it
an
was
hour and
like, you
21
wouldn't-
minutes.
If it's that high value of a heist, and the dudes are goobers, and they're not actual like people who know about art. It's probably not just, hey, guys, go in there and grab whatever you think it looks cool or whatever. Like, they probably had a specific, like, all right, this one looks like trees, and this one is the golden goo.
Well, they had 80 minutes. They were probably like, oh, hell, that's cool.
There's a lot of shit in here, man. Get your knife out. We're going to have to cut some of this out.
No, maybe it was like a Joker sort of thing that was trying to signal something. That if you take the letters and they arrange a name, but there's no Batman out there.
Yeah.
You know? And there's just
Yeah.
some super criminal still waiting. No, they'll get it soon.
Son of a
Yeah.
They'll
bitch.
figure it out soon.
Biggest art theft in world history, and they still haven't figured out the fucking, like,
It's just
whatever.
an anagram of
It's
something.
like a super simple thing that
Yeah.
spells Mr. Art or whatever.
They'll know me as Mr. Art once they figure it out.
The cop's like, Mr. Art. What the fuck does that mean?
End of Mr. Art's comic
Yeah.
book series.
Credits.
Well, boys, let's go back to our commissioner and see what he has to say. Hey, Commissioner Art, who do you think Mr. Art would be?
Fiend.
There's that Scooby-Doo moment. Leave it alone, boys. No need to investigate further.
This one's open and shut.
But that's what I'm saying, guys. Why are we overthinking this?
Yeah, bust it open.